30-30 is going to Auburn. War Eagle. Shout out to the Auburn Tigers fans. We're talking about a spicy one, Metcalf, in the NBA draft space. Not really, but just if you love them, you love them. If you're questioning it, it's okay. But Tahaad Pettiford, one of the top returners in this class, made some real noise last year as a freshman. Auburn has him around 6'1", 170, which is always fun. But if you watch Tahaad Pettiford on the basketball court, he plays like a giant. So it's one of those puzzling prospects, Metcalf, that I think people are going to go back and forth about. Like, could this work at the NBA level? But there's one thing for sure: is Tahaad Pettiford is lightning in a bottle. So what gets you excited about Pettiford? What gets you saying, hey, you know what? Despite the questions, despite the red flags, despite people doubting him, I'm still excited about Tahaad Pettiford.
And he's fun. And just when you watch, and he has one of the most fun brands of basketball in college basketball right now. And the handle, the creativity, the audacity, the scoring versatility, he's just fun. And then it's like every time you're like, oh man, but he's small. It's like, oh man, but he's surrounded by a lot of seniors and kind of in the perfect context. And then you just keep watching him and like, oh, but he's fun. Like, I don't know if it's going to work, but he's fun. And every time it's like, oh man, but he's fun. And it's just one of these players, you just really want it to work because it's such a fun and entertaining style that he brings to every single game.
It's pretty much the meme or the gif where it's just what is it, Parks and Rec, when it just keeps repeating the word fun. That's basically the experience of Tahaad Pettiford. But I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of joy. There's a lot of excitement of watching him play basketball. It's like the street pickup, but also controlled and really good type of style where you're just like, oh my gosh, this kid rocks. So look, last year, like I said, Tahaad Pettiford, he's wristled around 6'1", 170, 175, whatever you want to say. He's going to be a sophomore this year. He was starting to really play good and spot minutes for Auburn last year. Then it got to a point where like, you got to play him more. He's given you just consistent firepower and versatility. Last year, he averaged 11.6 points, 2.2 rebounds, 3 assists on 42, 36, 80. Best month of the year, almost was December. He had a 6-game stretch of 13, 2, and almost 4 on 48, 45, 100. Not bad. And that was in 23 minutes. But Metcalf, the big question this year, Auburn has lost a lot of talented players. Chad Baker-Mazara is going to USC, Janiah Broome to the NBA, Dylan Cardwell to the NBA. A lot of guys that were really important contributors last year. Got a very exciting transfer class. Bruce Pearl is also out the door. A lot of questions about Auburn. And I think a lot of us are also wondering, is Tahaad Pettiford ready for an expanded role? Is this going to be a full-time point guard you can trust? Or is this going to be one of those 6-man, just you bring in, you let him go crazy with his scoring upside, and then you kind of regroup? What is it with you? Like, what are you believing in? What are you excited to see this year with Tahaad Pettiford? What does he need to do to showcase you like, hey, this is a first-round guy, I'm in, despite, people questioning the height and hating on the height haters?
Prove that he can be the guy. And because if you're going to be that small at a major program, you have to be the guy. And I know we keep mentioning, it's like, oh man, but it's going to be in a bigger role. And it's like, well, is it? Because like when you look at his usage last year, it's still 25.1 in his 57% minute share. That's a pretty high usage when he was on the court. But the context of that usage is very, very different this year, and he was surrounded by 22, 23, 24-year-olds all last year who were able to insulate him and take a lot of the decision-making away from him, at least primary decision-making, and just make his life easier. And this year, I think there's a lot of unknown. There's a ton of roster turnover, new head coach, and I think he has the confidence. I think he has the skill to be the guy, but we still just need to see it. And on top of that, we really got to see the at-rim scoring take a major jump. And the fact that he ranked in the 26th percentile in points per possession at the rim in terms of scoring efficiency last year, really concerning. And that's with a dominant interior presence already there in Janiah Broome, who shot blockers still had to be considerate of and probably leaned more towards staying home on him rather than rotating over and really trying to take away Pettiford. So I hate it when evaluations are like, man, but he's small. It's a real issue. And 36% from three on insane volume last year. Really encouraging. Need those numbers to tick up a little bit. If the at rim stuff doesn't improve significantly, that outside shooting has to tick up a lot. And he's got to be way over 40%. Similar playmaking numbers, if not even more efficient on that end. But I mean, shooting 50.6% at the rim, not good enough for anyone, let alone a 6'1" guard.
You're spot on. It's the same questions you hear from, you talked to scouts last year, and I feel like when we're always digging around asking like, hey, what are you hearing here? What are you vibing here? What are your thoughts? Last year, it finally got to, okay, so what do you think about Pettiford? And a lot of scouts say the same thing. I really like him. He could play. But it's also like you find what's the but coming on? And it's like, well, what team? A lot of teams can like him. Who's willing to take that leap of being like, we'll take a chance. I think Pettiford could play. Like, he's an absolute stud. Despite, everything that you look at when you haven't watched him, you're just like, small guard, skinny, no. And then you start watching him, you're like, oh my goodness, he could play basketball. This kid knows how to play the game the right way. And, then you see him all of a sudden, like, he goes down and throws down alley-oops. Like, he's throwing down, like, vicious slams. At Combine last year, he had a 42-inch max vertical. Wingspan was 6'5.5". That's solid for someone like him. We thought he was going to go down to the wire of being a guy that's trying to stay in or maybe get one more year at Auburn, collect that bag at the end with the NIL situation now. But I think he's got a big opportunity to prove himself this year of like, hey, I can be more consistent. I can do this. I can do this. And with, a lot of those guys out at Auburn, a lot of eyes are going to be on him. And if he could be consistent out of the gate and showcase, his game's taking another step, I think it's going to speak volumes. So any last words on Tahaad Pettiford?
No, and I don't really have any concerns about him as a scorer. Like, we know he can get buckets. We know he can get to his spots. And 78th percentile as a pick and roll ball handler for scoring, 93rd percentile spotting up, 56th percentile in isolation. But what does it look like when he doesn't have potential player of the year playing alongside him, where that pick and roll partner is exclusively a rim runner? Or, and he had two of the best pick and roll partners in the country last year, Cardwell and Janiah Broom. So it's still a lot of unknown. We know how awesome the individual skill is. The individual highlight, the individual production is going to be really good. I have very few doubts about that. But what does it look like in terms of a team context and winning basketball context and translating to the next level context? And I think we still have, despite how fun he is, despite how impressive some of the numbers and stretches were last year, I think we still have a lot of questions there.
It was fun, Auburn fans. War Eagle. So Pettiford's going to be a fun one. Another 30 for 30, 30 and 30 down. We're progressing forward. We're less than 2 weeks, I believe. Oh my gosh, it feels so good to say that loud. Less than 2 weeks until college basketball is back. Check out the No Ceilings NBA YouTube channel. Me and Metcalf every single day are going to have a new prospect for you to get caught up on. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.